On today's show, we have 10 tips for new investors. My name is Candace, and we will begin right now. For new investors in the market, there's a lot to learn, and sometimes these will be the lessons that can save you a lot of money. We have 10 quick lessons here today that are essential for new investors and serve as great refreshers for those more seasoned. Sometimes it never hurts to go back to the basics. Lesson number one, pay off high interest debt first. Before you start investing, you need to know your own financials. How much do you owe? Who do you owe it to? And what is the interest rate on that debt? Of course, for a potential investor, the amount of interest on a debt is the part that will be the most important. You can earn some very good returns on the stock market or with cryptocurrency. If you look at the market from 2001 to 2021, the 20-year span saw an average return of 7.45%. A good investor will more than likely do better than that. However, for this lesson, we need to take a conservative approach, and we will use 6% as our conservative return. If you have a credit card with an interest rate of 12%, you would be losing money when you invest instead of paying off that card. If the interest rate is more than 6%, pay it off before you invest. If you have a very low interest rate, then just make your minimum payments, as that money can make you more money by investing it. Lesson number two, invest in yourself. Learning about the stock market and investing is the best way to become a better investor. If you are brand new, then I would recommend you pick up a copy of Stock Investing for Dummies. Don't let the title fool you. This is one of the best beginner books out there, and I have a link down below for it. In addition to reading, there are a lot of great content on YouTube, though always use that as a starting point and take the research beyond YouTube. Lesson number three, set up an emergency fund. Your emergency fund is essential for when life deals you an unexpected expense. Maybe your car breaks down, or hopefully not, you lose your job. The emergency fund is for those moments. It is a liquid fund you can have access to fast when you need it. Without an emergency fund, you'll be forced to pull from your investments, and if the market is red, it could make you realize some losses. Your emergency fund should consist of a bare minimum 2 months of expenses, and ideally 6 months would be better. Before you start investing, get the 2 month safety net in place, then add a little from your budget to work towards the 6 months. Also, keep this money someplace that is at least earning a little interest. I park mine in EQ Bank. Link down below. I do know that some people keep theirs in stable coins, which is okay as long as you can access them quickly. If you need money in an hour, be sure you can pull it from those stable coins in an hour. Lesson number four, most investing mistakes are psychological. When it comes to investing, emotions can be your downfall. FUD, otherwise known as fear, uncertainty, and doubt, will cause you to realize losses at the worst possible time. When things are in the red, it can feel like a red alert. And as you watch numbers get smaller, you can feel the pain of losing money. It is not real, though, unless you give in to your fear and sell, thus realizing the nightmare you were perceiving. To add salt to injury, that loss you sold in fear turns green a few days later. There are times to jump ship, but when it is an overall market dip, that is usually the exact wrong time for that. Conversely, FOMO, the fear of missing out, can make you ecstatic when the market is pumping and you have been buying the tops as if the price is going up forever and you are about to be left behind. The truth is that it is a cycle and it goes up and down over shorter periods. And the good companies with solid fundamentals do go up and up over longer time frames. The danger with FOMO is that once it falls again, you will flip the FOMO into FUD and create the worst scenario possible in investing, buying at the top and selling at the bottom, also known as a recipe to lose all your money. Closely following this lesson is lesson number five. It is not always about buying the dip. When you begin to invest and start to get involved, you will hear that one mantra, buy the dip. Don't get me wrong, buying the dip can be very good in a lot of cases. However, there are exceptions, and it should never be used as an absolute rule. If a company has gone into a big dip, but the market seems fine, this is not a buy the dip moment. This is a research moment. It is imperative to find out why the stock is falling. Check the fundamentals. Check for news stories about the company. If their dip is due to a scandal or the company is having very serious cash flow issues, you may not want to buy that dip. Conversely, if a company is just doing well and no dip in sight, it can sometimes cost you to wait for the dip, as the dip may be a higher price than where it currently is. A better alternative to buying the dip is to dollar cost average, or DCA. If you don't know what dollar cost averaging is, no worries. We are going to break it down a little later in this video. But first, let's talk about lesson number 6, taking profits too early. When stocks begin to rise, it is nice to see the green. Sometimes being in profit is so nice that you may decide to cash out then, feel a little sad afterwards as the price continues to rise and you watch the missed profits disappear. First of all, taking profits is not a bad thing in any way, and never feel bad for doing it. In this scenario, it really comes down to the company and the news that may be causing the price increase. If the news is pushing the price, then absolutely be wary and don't let greed rule out when to sell, as those type of pumps can fall very fast. In these situations, I will usually take some profits on the way up so that if it does fall, I still have my profits that I removed. If there is no news and it is just upward movement in a very stable, fundamentally sound company, I am not so quick to remove my profits. Even if I miss the top and it dips a little, I will more than likely be okay, as that price will return to the top again. Especially if I am a long-term investor, I will let it ride for years without concern. Lesson number 7, the uncertainty principle. It is easy to want to make moves when you go into your portfolio. However, sometimes all those little moves and rebalances can be chipping away at your return on investment without you even realizing it. In general, make a move when it makes sense for your portfolio and not just because you want to make a move. If there is any uncertainty, then don't do it. Go research some more to either realize if it is a good move or a bad move. Don't act on uncertainties. Lesson number 8, fundamentals are only a piece of the picture. When making investments, it is essential to be aware of the fundamentals of a company, but it is not the whole picture. Another important thing is to look at the news for that company. Issues that will affect fundamentals down the road will hit the news weeks or even months before the fundamentals reflect the problem. Some investors will say that the news tells them if they should invest, and the fundamentals tell them how much they should invest. Lesson number 9, mistakes will happen. Doesn't matter how experienced you are going to make mistakes when it comes to investing. Sometimes experience can even work against you as you skip some of the basics and jump straight into a trade that you would have passed on if you did your due diligence. It will happen and you will lose money from time to time. Sometimes the market just does something you don't expect, and if that impacted you more than it should, that is also your mistake for not having plans for the unexpected. Always have backup plans. You know it is going to the moon, but what if it doesn't? What if it crashes? Know what you will do in these cases as well. If you fully plan your investing strategy, you can minimize the mistakes and their impact on your bottom line. Also, accept the mistake as your own and learn from it and be a better investor on your next trade. Lesson number 10, dollar cost averaging is king. If you hear of people trying to time the market, they are almost always wrong with their timing, and despite how much they think they know the market, they don't know the future. Good technical analysis can improve your chances somewhat, but even the best TA is only accurate 75% of the time at best, provided the person doing the TA knows what they are even doing. Dollar cost averaging over time will provide greater returns than somebody trying to time the market. With DCA, you are buying into an asset over time with a fixed purchase schedule. You may buy $50 every Monday at noon, or maybe you're putting in $100 every payday. Some of these Mondays or paydays, the price will be low, some high, and others in the middle. So over time, you end up buying the average price for that asset, and that average investment has higher than average returns in the long haul. Hopefully, these mini lessons have been useful for you today. If you have some lessons or tips of your own, feel free to drop them down below in the comments. I would absolutely love to see them. If you like this video, be sure to hit like and subscribe for future content just like this. And of course, if you hit that notification bell, you will be notified whenever I drop a new video. Thank you for watching. And until next time, I bid you a fond adieu.